The desert was endless, hot, and cruel, in this land of broken machines. The junkyard stretched for miles. Old alien ships, rusted cars, and shattered metal bones lay under the burning sun. It was a graveyard of forgotten things, a place where no one stayed for long, but one man walked there alone. His name was Daniel, a scavenger who lived by collecting what others had thrown away. He searched for metal, wires, or engines he could sell for food and water. The junkyard was dangerous, but Daniel had no choice. Survival pushed him forward. Every step crunched over broken glass and dry sand. He carried a long hook to pull parts from wrecks and a small pack for water. The air smelled of rust and smoke, and in the distance, huge machines lay like dead beasts. Daniel wiped sweat from his face and kept moving deeper. But something was different today. The air felt heavy, decay, and even the birds avoided the sky above the junkyard. Daniel stopped when he heard a sound too soft for a machine. It was faint, almost like breathing, hidden under the noise of the wind at first. He thought his mind was playing tricks. People said the junkyard was haunted by alien ghosts. Some swore machines moved on their own at night. Daniel never believed those stories, but now his heart beat faster. He followed the sound. Stepping carefully over twisted metal between two broken vehicles, he saw movement, something alive. A weak voice whispered in the air, broken and almost fading. Daniel's hands tightened on his hook as he leaned closer. There, under a half-buried wheel and a pile of wires, he saw her, an alien woman, her skin pale with strange glowing patterns. She was covered in dust, her body thin and fragile. Her eyes, however, were bright to shining orbs of silver staring at him. Daniel froze. The alien did not move. Only her chest rose slowly with shallow breaths. Her legs were twisted, unmoving, as if paralyzed. She was not a threat. She was broken, abandoned, and left to die. Help. She whispered, her voice weak and shaking. Her accent was strange, but Daniel understood. Her lips trembled, her eyes filled with fear and shame. Daniel stepped back, unsure if this was real. Why would an alien woman be here, in this forgotten graveyard? Why had no one come for her? Was she bait, a trap, something to lure foolish men like him? The desert wind howled through the wrecks. Daniel looked around, searching for movement. But the junkyard was still, only silence, and the soft voice remained. The woman coughed, her body trembling. Please, don't leave me. They left me here. Her words cut through him, raw and painful. They, my family, abandoned me. Daniel's chest tightened. He knew loneliness. He knew hunger. But to be abandoned by one's own people, that was a cruelty beyond anything. He had suffered. Still, his mind screamed danger. Humans had fought aliens before. Some were enemies, some were killers. Was she one of them? Or was she truly helpless? The scavenger stepped closer, his boots sinking into the sand. He saw metal chains broken around her wrists. Her body bore scars, deep and cruel. This was no trick. This was no trap. This was no trap. This was a prisoner thrown away like trash. The woman tried to lift her arm, but failed. She looked at him with eyes full of despair. Please. One man can change fate. You can, she whispered. Her words made no sense, yet they cut into Daniel's heart. For a long moment, Daniel stood in silence. The desert sun burned above. The junkyard stretched forever, and at his feet lay a choice: walk away and live safely, or stay and risk everything. A low metallic noise echoed in the distance. Daniel turned his head sharply. Machines. Somewhere deeper in the junkyard, gears turned and engines growled faintly. The woman's eyes widened in fear. They are coming. They know I still breathe. She whispered. Daniel's blood ran cold. Who was they? Why did they care? If she lived. The sound grew louder, like broken machines crawling across the sand. The junkyard was not empty, and something was hunting. Daniel gripped his hook tighter, his jaw set. He had only moments to decide. Leave her behind or take her and fight whatever shadows moved in the junkyard. The silver glow in her eyes locked onto him, desperate and pleading. For the first time, Daniel felt the weight of destiny in this cursed place. And deep in his heart, he knew this was no ordinary meeting. This was the beginning of something far greater. The wind screamed, the metal groaned. The alien woman whispered one final word before darkness took her. Save. And the sound of crawling machines grew closer, louder, and hungrier. Daniel's heart pounded as the sound of crawling machines echoed through the junkyard. He bent down quickly, brushing away the dust and broken wires that covered the alien woman. Her body was weak, her skin pale with glowing patterns like stars. Trapped under her skin, she looked fragile, almost ready to break. Yet her eyes held a strange strength. Daniel whispered to himself, "What are you?" The woman's lips trembled, and her voice came out broken. Not enemy. Not danger. Help. Her words were slow, as if speaking drained the last of her life. Daniel glanced over his shoulder. The metallic noise grew louder, scraping, grinding, like machines dragging their broken bodies across the desert floor. He did not have much time, but his instincts fought against each other. One told him to run. Another told him to help. He pulled the heavy wheel off her legs. She gasped in pain, her eyes closing tightly as dust filled the air. Daniel leaned closer, his voice rough but urgent. "Who left you here? Why?" The woman's silver eyes opened again, weak but still glowing. "My own. My family. They call me broken." She struggled to breathe, her words shivering like glass. "They said I could not walk. I could not fight, so they left me." To die among the dead machines, Daniel felt his chest tighten. Abandoned by her own kind because of her weakness, he had seen cruelty before humans could be harsh. But this was beyond survival. This was betrayal. The noise in the junkyard drew closer, and shadows flickered between the rusted metal. Daniel cursed under his breath. If he stayed here any longer, the machines would find him. But when he looked at her again, lying helpless and trembling, something inside him refused to walk away. "Can you move?" he asked quickly. She shook her head slowly, tears forming in her glowing eyes. "My body. No strength, but my mind." "Still alive," she whispered. Her words were strange. But Daniel could feel their truth. He slid his arms under her fragile frame, lifting her carefully. Her body was lighter than he expected, as if hollow, yet her skin felt warm, almost burning. She winced in pain, but did not cry out, only looked at him with those silver eyes. "Why? Why save me?" she whispered. Daniel gritted his teeth, because no one deserves to be thrown away like trash. He carried her out from under the broken wheel. The noise of machines was louder now, metal claws scratching, gears turning. From behind a ruined vehicle, Daniel caught sight of them. 3 spider-like machines, their bodies twisted from alien design, glowing with red lights. They crawled across the junkyard, scanning with sharp beams of light, searching, hunting. The woman gasped. "They are watchers. They follow. They make sure I die." Her words shook with fear. Daniel cursed again under his breath. So this was not only abandonment. Her own people had left guards to make sure she never left this place. The machines moved closer, their red lights sweeping. Across the wrecks, Daniel ducked behind a pile of scrap, holding her close. Her breathing was shallow, her head resting against his shoulder. For a moment, he felt her heart beating weakly against his chest, proof she was still alive. The scavenger's mind raced. He had no weapons strong enough to fight 3 alien machines. His hook was sharp, Yes, but against metal hunters, it was like a stick. Against a wall, still, he could not give her back, not after she begged. Not after those words, "They abandoned me." The machines crawled closer, and Daniel whispered, "Stay quiet, don't move." Her glowing eyes locked on his, trusting him even when fear shook her body. One of the machines stopped, its red beams swept. Across the sand, pausing near their hiding place, Daniel held his breath, his hand tightening on the hook. The alien woman's small hand trembled and then touched his arm. "I can help. Not body, but mind," she whispered softly. Her eyes glowed brighter for a second. Suddenly, a broken engine nearby crackled with sparks. The red beam of the machine turned sharply toward the noise. Daniel's eyes widened. She was controlling the wreck with her mind. The 3 spider machines rushed toward the sparks. Daniel didn't wait. He carried her quickly through the narrow path between dead vehicles. The junkyard was a maze, but he knew the paths better than most. Behind them, the sound of metal claws. Scratching grew louder. The hunters realized the trick and turned back, their red beams cutting through the dust. Daniel's lungs burned, his arms heavy as he carried her. But the woman's voice whispered against his ear, "Do not stop. You are my only chance. One man can change fate." Her words echoed in his mind as he stumbled forward. The junkyard around them seemed alive, now broken machines groaning, shadows moving, the red beams chasing. But in Daniel's arms was a secret, a mystery, a woman. Not only abandoned, but hunted, and deep inside, he knew saving her would change everything. He reached a hollow space under the wreck of a huge alien ship. Breathing hard, he laid her down gently. Her eyes shimmered in the dark, reflecting his tired face. "Why would they want you dead?" he asked. She closed her eyes and whispered, "Because I know." What they feared the most. Before Daniel could ask more, the sound of the machines returned. Louder, closer. The hunt was far from over, and the mystery of the alien woman had only just begun. The alien woman lay weak beneath the shadow of the wrecked ship. Her silver eyes flickered like fading stars, yet her voice still carried strength. Outside, the metallic hunters scraped across the sand, their red beams slicing through the dust. Daniel knew they would find this hiding place soon. He tightened his grip on the rusty hook in his hand. It was sharp enough for scavenging metal, but against alien machines, it was almost useless. Still, he clenched it, because empty hands meant death. The woman's whisper reached him, soft but urgent. "They will not stop until I am gone. They were sent to erase me." Daniel crouched beside her, sweat dripping down his forehead. "Then I won't let them find you," he said in a firm voice. The woman studied his face with strange wonder. "No one ever said that to me. Not even my own family," she murmured. A sudden crash shook the ground. One of the spider machines slammed into the wreck above, tearing through rust and wires. Dust rained down on them, and the red glow of its eyes pierced the darkness. Daniel's heart raced. He had to move, now, without another thought. He lifted her back into his arms. Her body was so light it felt as if the desert wind itself could carry her. But every step he took was heavy with danger. The alien groaned in pain, her paralyzed legs dragging softly as he held her. "Hold on," Daniel whispered. "Just hold on." The machine screeched, its claws sparking against the broken hull. Its sharp legs stabbed into the ground, pulling its twisted frame closer. Daniel darted out of the wreck, sand spraying beneath his boots. The woman buried her face against his chest, whispering something he could not hear over the noise. Another machine crawled from the left, blocking their path. Its red beam scanned the ground, moving toward them like a blade of light. Daniel's eyes darted around scrap metal. Wires, a broken engine half buried in sand. An idea sparked in his mind. "Can you control that engine again?" he asked quickly. The woman's eyes glowed faintly. "I can, but not for long." "My mind is weak," she whispered. Daniel shifted. Placing her against a pile of wreckage while keeping his body in front of hers, he pointed to the broken engine. "Do it. Give me one chance." Her glowing eyes focused, her breath sharp and fast. The engine hissed. Sparks flickering alive. The spider machine turned instantly toward the noise. Charging, Daniel waited until the creature passed close. With a roar, he swung his hook with all his strength. The sharp end pierced a bundle of exposed wires under its leg. The machine shrieked, jerking violently. Sparks exploding from its damaged joint. Daniel pulled back, his arms shaking, but the machine stumbled. To one side, the alien woman gasped, her voice weak but determined. "Run." "Now?" While it resets, Daniel didn't argue. He scooped her up again and bolted deeper into the junkyard. Behind them, the crippled machine screeched. Dragging itself back into motion, the other two followed, their claws hammering against the sand. Daniel's lungs burned as he ran. Weaving through the twisted graveyard of ships, the alien woman clung to him, her eyes glowing brighter, as if her will alone kept him moving. "You fight for me," she whispered almost in disbelief. "Humans fight." Daniel replied through gritted teeth. "We fight even when the odds are broken." They stumbled into a narrow passage between two collapsed ships. Daniel pressed her against the wall and crouched low. The machines crawled past, their red beams sweeping like angry eyes. Daniel's chest rose and fell heavily, every muscle screaming with exhaustion, but he stayed silent, shielding her with his body. When the hunters moved farther away, Daniel leaned close to her. "We can't keep running forever," he muttered. Her glowing eyes softened. "There is a place," she whispered, "deep inside this junkyard. A core of power. If we reach it, I can help you fight." Daniel frowned, confused. "A core of power? What do you mean?" She closed her eyes, her voice breaking. "This place is not only trash. It is a tomb, the remains of an ancient machine. I know how to wake it." Her words struck Daniel like lightning, a weapon hidden in the junkyard. A machine strong enough to fight these hunters. It sounded impossible, but the desperation in her voice was real. He nodded slowly. "Then I'll get you there." Suddenly, the ground shook again. One of the spider machines dropped down from above, its red eyes burning bright. Daniel cursed and swung his hook. But the creature was faster. Its claw lashed out, striking his arm and knocking the weapon away. The hook clattered against the sand. Useless. The machine raised another claw, aiming for the alien woman. Without thinking, Daniel threw himself in front of her. Arms spread. For a moment, everything slowed. Her silver eyes widened in shock. His body braced for the blow. But then, her glow exploded. The machine's red eyes flickered as sparks burst from its core. The alien woman's voice rose in a sharp cry. Her mind had struck like lightning. Twisting the machine's circuits for only a second, it stumbled back, screeching in confusion. Daniel grabbed the fallen hook, swinging it up with all his strength. The metal pierced through its neck joint, and with a shower of sparks, the machine collapsed. Its body twitched, then lay still, smoke rising from its broken shell. Daniel stood over it, breathing hard. His arms shook. His body was bruised, but his eyes were steady. He turned back to the woman, who looked at him with awe. "You fought for me," she whispered, her voice trembling with something more than fear. Daniel gave a small nod. "And I'll keep fighting." But even as the machine's body cooled, the sound of the other hunters grew louder. Two more, moving fast. Closing in, Daniel lifted her again, determination burning in his eyes. "Show me this core," he said firmly. "Because if we don't reach it, we're both dead." And with the glow of her eyes guiding him, Daniel ran deeper into the heart of the junkyard toward a secret buried in rust and shadows. The junkyard grew darker as Daniel carried the alien woman deeper inside. The sun above was fading, and long shadows stretched across the twisted metal graveyard. Everywhere, piles of wreckage loomed like mountains. Broken engines and alien ships stacked on one another like tombstones. The sound of the hunters echoed behind them, sharp and steady. Always searching, always chasing. Daniel's arms ached from carrying her, but he refused to stop. The woman's silver eyes glowed faintly in the shadows, like two stars guiding him. "Not far now," she whispered, her voice weak but certain. "There's a place. A heart of power hidden below these ruins. Only I know the way." Daniel gritted his teeth. He was a scavenger. Not a hero, not a fighter, but somehow he had become protector to this fragile, glowing being, and though fear pressed down on him, a strange determination burned stronger. They reached a broken slope of metal leading into the earth. It looked like nothing more than a collapsed tunnel of wreckage. But the woman lifted a trembling hand, pointing inside. Deeper. There lies the secret. Daniel shifted her carefully in his arms and slid down the slope. The tunnel swallowed them, the air cooler but heavy with dust. Strange symbols glowed faintly on the walls, alien markings half buried in rust. Daniel frowned, brushing his hand across one. "Your people built this?" he asked. The woman's eyes darkened. "My ancestors. Long ago. They made machines that could end worlds." Daniel froze. "End worlds," he repeated. Her voice trembled. "Yes, weapons so powerful they buried them here, hoping no one would ever find them. But I know the way." Because I was not meant to survive. Her words sent a chill through him. He adjusted his grip on her and kept walking, the tunnel winding deeper behind them. The hunters' metallic screeches echoed faintly. They were still coming, still tracking. At last, the tunnel opened into a massive underground chamber. Daniel's eyes widened. The space stretched wide, filled with shadows. And in the center lay something enormous, a machine half buried in sand and rubble. Its size dwarfing every ship Daniel had ever seen. It looked like a giant heart of metal, pulsing faintly with dying light. The alien woman's eyes shimmered, tears glistening at the corners. "This is the core," she whispered. "A fragment of an ancient machine. It still breathes, and I can wake it." Daniel set her down gently on a slab of broken stone, his voice low, cautious. "And if you wake it, what happens then?" She looked at him, her silver eyes glowing brighter. "Then I can fight. Not with my broken body, but with this machine. Together we can stand against my people." Daniel frowned, his instincts twisting. "Wait, your own family, your own people. They sent those machines to kill you." "Why?" Her voice cracked with pain as she answered, "Because I remember. I know what they fear. I know their secret." She leaned forward, her glowing patterns pulsing softly. "My people are not strong as they appear, not noble as they claim. They abandoned me because I was weak, yes, but also because my mind held too much knowledge." She closed her eyes, whispering, "They are afraid humanity will rise. They are afraid you will learn our hidden flaws. So they chose to erase me, to bury me here with the core, where no human would find me." Daniel's jaw tightened. The pieces began to fall into place. This wasn't just about one woman abandoned. This was about fear, power, and control. Her betrayal meant something far bigger, something that tied humanity's survival to hers. A loud crash echoed through the chamber. Daniel spun around, heart pounding from the tunnel entrance. Red lights flickered to hunters had found the way inside. The woman gasped, her silver eyes glowing like fire. Too soon. They come too soon. The core pulsed faintly, its dying glow reflecting in Daniel's eyes. "Can you wake it now?" Hay asked urgently. Her trembling hands reached toward the machine. Yes. But I need time. Daniel stood between her and the tunnel, gripping his hook with fierce resolve. Then I'll buy you that time, he said, his voice hard. The hunters crawled inside, claws scraping, red beams sweeping the chamber. Daniel swallowed his fear and tightened his grip. The alien woman's glow spread across the chamber walls as she touched the core. Symbols lit up, one by one, as if answering her call. The hunters screeched and rushed forward, but Daniel charged too. Meet them. His body was small against their towering forms, but his courage burned like fire. He swung the hook, sparks flying as it struck one of the hunter's joints. The machine screeched, lashing out with claws that nearly tore him apart. Daniel ducked. Sand exploding around him, the second hunter lunged, its red beam locking onto the woman. No? Daniel roared, throwing himself in its path. The claw struck him hard, knocking him to the ground, pain exploding in his chest, but he forced himself back up. Gripping the hook with shaking hands, behind him, the core's light grew brighter. Symbols racing alive across its surface, the alien woman cried out, her voice merging with the hum of the machine. Her silver eyes glowed so bright, they filled the chamber with light. The core pulsed stronger, louder, like a giant heart awakening. After centuries of silence, the hunters paused, their red beams flickering uncertainly. The core's glow rose into the ceiling, casting shadows like fire across the wrecked chamber. Daniel turned, his eyes wide. The alien woman's voice rose above the hum, clear and strong for the first time. Together, we fight. And as the core awakened, the ground trembled, the hunters screeched in fear. Daniel lifted his hook once more, and the alien woman's power surged through the chamber, ready to change the balance of fate. The core's light filled the underground chamber, pulsing brighter with every second. Daniel shielded his eyes, squinting against the glow. The alien woman sat against the machine, her glowing patterns merging with the symbols on its surface. Her voice rose in a strange chant, as if speaking directly to the machine's mind. The hunters hesitated at the edge of the chamber. Their red beams flickered, confused by the sudden surge of power. For the first time, Daniel saw fear in their movements. But fear quickly turned into rage, and the machine screeched, charging forward again. Daniel gripped his hook tightly, his chest aching from the last fight. He planted his feet in front of the woman, ready to stand his ground, but before the machines could strike, the core released a pulse of energy. The wave knocked both hunters back, their legs skidding against the sand. Sparks flying, the alien woman gasped, her silver eyes burning with light. I can push them back, but not destroy them, not yet. Daniel nodded, sweat dripping down his face. Then we move, he said quickly. They won't stop until they tear this place apart. He lifted her once more. Her body fragile, but her glow fierce. The core hummed louder as if alive, its symbols shining like fire in the dark. Daniel turned toward a broken passage on the far side of the chamber. If they stayed here, the hunters would trap them. The only hope was to keep moving. The hunters recovered, their red eyes blazing brighter. They screeched, metal claws digging into the stone as they crawled after them. Daniel stumbled into the passage. Carrying her close, the tunnel twisted like a throat, narrow and dark. The air smelled of smoke and rust, the sound of pursuit echoing louder behind them. The woman whispered against his ear, her breath weak. They fear the core. They fear what I can unlock. That is why they will never stop. Daniel gritted his teeth. Then let them chase, he muttered. But they won't take you. The tunnel opened into another section of the junkyard. Here, the ceiling had collapsed, and moonlight spilled in, pale and cold. Mountains of twisted metal loomed on all sides, forming a maze of sharp shadows. Daniel's boots slipped on the sand as he ran. his heart pounding with every step. The hunters emerged from the tunnel, screeching. Their red lights swept the ruins like blades, cutting through the night. One machine leaped high, landing on a pile of wreckage ahead of them, blocking the path. Another crawled fast from behind, claws tearing grooves in the ground. Daniel's breath came ragged, his arms screaming from the weight he carried. But when he looked down at the woman, her silver eyes locked on his, calm and steady. "Trust me," she whispered, her glow flared. Suddenly, and a wave of sparks shot through the wreck above. The machine on the pile shrieked, its claws sinking into the metal as the structure collapsed beneath it. Dust exploded, blocking its red beams. Daniel seized the chance and sprinted through the gap, but the second machine lunged from behind. Its claw slashed across his back, tearing through his jacket and leaving a hot line of pain. Daniel stumbled, but didn't fall, his grip on her unbroken. The woman cried out, reaching a trembling hand toward the machine. Her glow lashed out again, striking its sensors. For a moment, its red lights flickered. Blinded, Daniel turned sharply, his hook swinging. The sharp end pierced into the joint of its leg, sparks spraying across the sand. The machine screeched, thrashing. "Buying them precious seconds. Go," the woman urged, her voice cracking. Daniel pushed forward. Weaving through the labyrinth of wreckage, every shadow looked alive. Every sound of metal threatened death. The hunter's screeches followed, louder and closer. They would not stop. They could not stop. The junkyard seemed endless, but the woman guided him left. "Through there. Now climb," she whispered weakly. Her glowing eyes scanned the ruins as if seeing past Daniel could not. He obeyed, scrambling over sharp debris, sliding down into hidden passages, yet still, the hunters followed. Relentless, above them, the sky opened wider. The moonlight revealed the full scale of the junkyard, an ocean of broken machines stretching forever. Daniel's chest burned, his arms numb, but he refused to let her go. Her words from before echoed in his mind. One man can change fate. Suddenly, a screech unlike the others tore through the air. Daniel froze for a moment. From the far side of the junkyard, a larger shadow moved. Another machine, but not like the hunters. This one was massive, its body shaped like a scorpion, its stinger glowing with red fire. It crawled across the wrecks, its every movement shaking the ground. The alien woman's face turned pale. They sent it. "The warden," she whispered in horror. Daniel's stomach dropped. If the hunters were hounds, this thing was their master, and it was coming straight for them. The hunters screeched louder, their cries merging with the warden's roar. Daniel looked around desperately, his mind racing. There was no safe path, no escape. But the woman's hand clutched his shirt, her silver eyes burning. "There is still a chance. If we reach the core's second chamber, we can wake the giant buried there." Daniel's voice was raw with disbelief. "Another core? Another machine?" She nodded weakly. "Yes, but it is deeper, hidden in the labyrinth. If we reach it before the warden, we live. If not, we die." The ground shook again as the massive scorpion machine crawled closer. Daniel tightened his grip, determination blazing through his exhaustion. "Then we run," he said firmly. He lifted her higher in his arms and sprinted into the dark. The hunters shrieked, the warden roared, and the chase through the junkyard became a race against fate itself. The junkyard shook with every step of the warden. Its giant scorpion legs smashed through piles of wreckage, metal shrieking under its weight. Red fire glowed in its stinger, casting eerie light across the desert night. Behind it, the smaller hunters screeched, racing alongside their master. Daniel ran, his breath ragged, his arms trembling as he carried the alien woman. The ground was uneven, sharp, and filled with traps of broken glass and jagged steel. Every step sliced into his boots, but he didn't slow. Her weak body pressed against his chest. Yet her glowing eyes guided him through the chaos. Faster, she whispered, her voice cracking with pain. If the warden catches us, there will be nothing left. Daniel's jaw clenched. Then tell me where to go. She lifted a trembling hand, pointing through a narrow canyon of stacked ships. Through there. The second chamber lies beyond. And the truth you must hear. They slipped into the canyon, shadows pressing close around them. The walls rose like cliffs of rusted steel, echoing with the thunder of the warden's pursuit. Daniel stumbled, his vision swimming, but her voice kept him moving. Each word she spoke carried both desperation and hope. As they reached a hollow space beneath a fallen tower of metal, Daniel stopped. He set her down gently on the sand, his chest heaving. "We can't keep running like this," he said, sweat dripping down his face. "If we're going to survive, I need to know the truth. Why do they want you dead so badly? Why send monsters for you?" The woman's silver eyes flickered, sadness deep within them. Her hands trembled. As she touched the glowing patterns across her skin, "My people are not what they seem," she whispered. "To outsiders, they look perfect, strong, wise, untouchable. But it is all a lie." Daniel's brow furrowed. "A lie." She nodded weakly, her voice steady despite her shaking. "Yes. My kind are not as powerful as they claim. We are fragile. Weak in body, dependent on our machines. What gives us strength is not courage, not will, but secrets and fear." She closed her eyes, her breath shallow. "I was born different, my legs broken, my body paralyzed. They called me useless, a burden, but in my weakness, I learned to listen, to hear the whispers of the core. I discovered truths they wanted buried." Daniel leaned closer, the sounds of pursuit echoing in the canyon. What truths? Her silver eyes snapped open, burning like fire, that humans are dangerous to them. Not because of your weapons, not because of your numbers, but because of your spirit. You fight even when you are weak. You refuse to kneel. Where my people would abandon the broken, you would carry them. Daniel's chest tightened as her words struck deep. She pointed to herself, tears glistening. "They abandoned me because I was proof of their cruelty. I was proof that humans might be greater than them if humanity ever learned of our weakness. If you ever knew the truth, it could shift the balance of power in the stars." The ground shook violently, dust falling from the steel cliffs above. The warden's roar echoed through the canyon, closer, hungrier. Daniel's eyes widened. "So they left you here, to die, to erase you," he said, his voice dark with anger. She nodded slowly. "Yes, my life was worth nothing to them. But my death was everything. As long as I disappeared, their lie would live on." Her hand gripped his arm suddenly, her silver glow pulsing stronger. "But now, you found me, and that means the lie can end. That means my voice, my truth, can rise with yours." For a moment, silence fell between them, broken only by the distant screeches of the hunters. Daniel stared at her, torn between fear and awe. He had found her by chance in a graveyard of machines, yet now she spoke of changing the fate of two species, and deep inside, he felt the weight of her words. One man can change fate. The warden's roar shattered the silence, red light spilled into the canyon. The massive scorpion machine forcing its way through. Its claws tore into the steel walls, sparks raining. Like fire, Daniel grabbed the woman quickly, pulling her close. "We can't stay here. Where's this second chamber?" She pointed deeper into the canyon, her voice urgent. "Beyond this path, a hidden gate. Only my touch can open it. There lies the guardian core. Stronger than the first. If I reach it, I can turn the warden's power against itself." Daniel's heart pounded. a weapon strong enough to fight the warden. It sounded like madness, but madness was better than death. He lifted her again and ran, his legs burning. The canyon twisted sharply, leading to a wall of fused steel and stone. At first, it looked like a dead end, but as they approached, strange markings glowed faintly across the surface. The woman reached out with a trembling hand. "Here, the gate." "Let me touch it." Daniel lowered her, pressing her palm against the markings. Her silver glow spread across the wall like water, symbols flaring bright. The steel groaned, shifting slowly. A narrow passage opened, leading into darkness. But before they could enter, the ground split with a thunderous crash. The warden smashed into the canyon, its glowing stinger raised high. The hunters crawled over the wrecks, red beams sweeping wildly. Daniel pulled her back to her feet, his voice fierce. "Open it faster." The wall creaked louder, the passage widening inch by inch. The alien woman's voice rose in a chant, her glow burning brighter. The warden screeched, charging, its massive body shaking the ground. Daniel stood between her and the monster hook. In hand, every instinct told him he couldn't win, but he planted his feet anyway, his eyes blazing. The woman cried out, Daniel inside. "The Guardian Core awaits." Her voice was full of urgency, of hope, and in that moment, Daniel knew the truth of her words. He was no longer just a scavenger, no longer just a man running for survival. He was carrying the weight of something greater, her life, her truth, and perhaps the future of both species. The gate yawned open at last. Daniel grabbed her, leaping into the darkness as the warden's claw smashed down. The canyon exploded with sparks and fire, and the two of them vanished into the hidden chamber, leaving the warden screeching in fury behind them. The hidden chamber swallowed them in darkness. Daniel staggered forward, holding the alien woman tightly against his chest. Behind them, the warden's roar shook the canyon, its claws slamming against the half-closed gate. Metal screeched as the passage sealed shut, cutting them off from the monster outside. Daniel collapsed to one knee, his chest heaving. The woman stirred weakly in his arms, her silver glow dim but steady. "We made it," she whispered, her voice trembling but alive. Daniel nodded, though his body shook with exhaustion. "Then show me." This Guardian Core, the chamber around them, was vast, larger than the first. Ancient walls curved high above, glowing faintly with forgotten symbols. And at its heart lay something massive, a giant machine, half buried in the ground. Its body shaped like a titan resting in slumber. Its chest pulsed faintly, like the slow heartbeat of a dying god. Daniel's eyes widened. That thing. "It's enormous." The alien woman nodded slowly, her silver eyes shimmering. "This is the Guardian. The last defense of my ancestors. They locked it here, fearing its power. But now, it is our only hope." She reached out a trembling hand toward the machine. "I can wake it, but I need you." Daniel frowned, confused. "Me? I don't understand. I'm no engineer, no soldier." Her gaze locked on his, steady and fierce despite her weakness. "You are human, Daniel. That is what makes the difference. My people fear your kind because of this, because you fight when all logic says to fall, because you carry the broken instead of leaving them behind. The Guardian will only answer to such a will, to courage, not perfection." Her words struck deep. Daniel stared at the sleeping titan, then at her fragile form. He had been nothing more than a scavenger, surviving in the dust of dead machines. But now, standing here, he felt something greater stirring inside him. If this Guardian could rise, it might mean salvation, not just for her, but for humanity too. The ground shook violently. The warden's roar thundered again. From above, the ceiling cracked, dust raining down. The monster had not given up, was breaking its way inside, The hunter's screeches echoed closer. Like a storm of claws and steel, quickly. The woman cried, "Place your hand on the guardian's heart." Daniel ran forward, climbing the rubble until he reached the machine's chest. A glowing core pulsed faintly. Waiting, he pressed his hand against it. At once, light flared, burning through the chamber. Symbols ignited across the walls, the ground. Trembling, the guardian's chest glowed brighter, its massive eyes flickering open like suns. The air vibrated with power, shaking Daniel to his bones. The alien woman's voice rang out behind him. It responds to you. Because you choose to fight for another, not for yourself. Now guide it. Daniel, guide it with your will. The guardian's massive body began to rise, metal groaning as dust cascaded down outside. The warden smashed through the last barrier, forcing its way into the chamber. Its red stinger burned like fire, its hunters swarming at its sides. But the guardian towered above them all, its glowing eyes fixed on the intruders. Daniel felt a strange connection. The machine's strength flowed through him, as if its heart beat with his. He clenched his fists, and the guardian mirrored the motion. Its giant arms flexed, its chest roared with energy. The warden screeched and lunged, its massive claws striking. The guardian met it head-on, metal slamming against metal. The chamber exploded with sparks and thunder. Daniel gritted his teeth, forcing his will through the machine. "Stand your ground," he shouted, and the guardian did. Its fist smashed into the warden, sending the monster crashing against the walls. The hunters swarmed, their claws stabbing. The guardian swung its arm, scattering them like toys. Its chest pulsed, firing a beam of light that vaporized two in an instant. The roar of battle filled the chamber. Louder than any storm, Daniel's body trembled from the strain, sweat pouring down his face, but the woman's voice reached him, strong despite her broken form. "You are not alone, Daniel. I am with you." Her silver glow joined his, flowing into the guardian together. Human courage and alien knowledge fused into one will. The warden rose again, its stinger burning bright. It struck, but Daniel guided the guardian's arm to catch it. The two giants locked in a deadly struggle, sparks raining like fire. Daniel shouted, his voice echoing, "Now, end it." The guardian's chest flared with pure light. Its core unleashed a blast that pierced through the warden's body. The scorpion machine shrieked, its red fire dying as cracks spread across its shell. With one final roar, it collapsed, the ground shaking as its body crumbled into silence. The hunters screeched once more, then fled into the shadows, their red beams vanishing. Silence filled the chamber, broken only by the guardian's slow, steady hum. Daniel collapsed to his knees, gasping. The guardian lowered its massive arms, watching in silence like a sentinel. The alien woman crawled weakly to his side, her silver eyes shining with tears. "You did it," she whispered, her voice trembling. "No," Daniel said softly, looking at her. "We did it." She smiled faintly, her glow softer now. "For the first time, I was not left behind. I was carried." Daniel reached out, steadying her fragile frame. "And for the first time, I wasn't just surviving." He said, "I was fighting for something greater." The guardian loomed above them, silent and waiting, outside. The junkyard stretched forever, but now it no longer felt like a graveyard. It felt like the beginning of something new. The woman's silver eyes locked on Daniel's. Filled with hope, their lies are broken now. "With you, humanity will rise." Daniel looked at her, then at the towering guardian behind them. For the first time, he believed it. The desert wind howled outside, carrying the echoes of victory. And in the junkyard where she had been abandoned, one man's choice had changed everything.